Well, good evening, everybody out there. Welcome to another evening here with Paranormal Chat on Lost Limbs Foundation Radio Network. Thanks for joining us tonight and looking for a good time. As you can see, somebody's vacated me again. He can't talk, which, Crystal and I were talking about that over the weekend, and we don't think that's necessarily a really bad deal. But he's getting his voice back, so he should be here next week. Maybe he could finish the year out with us. We'll find out. So hopefully Mike will be back here next week for our last show of the year, and we'll get him on here at that time. I'm just going to sit back and listen and just let him talk to everybody at that point. So, but uh, thanks for everybody joining us tonight. Looking forward for a good night. We've got Katie Hultay is going to be on there tonight. She's done a lot of stuff in ITC with some spirit boxes and ghost boxes, and so we're looking forward to that. One thing I kind of want to touch base on real quick here, and this really doesn't have anything to do with Lost Limbs Foundation or with the Mike or Rhodes Hotel or anything, but just something I did today. As a lot of you know, and you've probably seen it on Twitter and Facebook, there's been a lot of stuff going on about the Vegas convention out there, and I actually had a date set up with the promoter of that show was going to do something at Ashmore Estates with Ken Boggle, and I decided that I didn't think it was right that I would continue to host that event for them, and with considering the people that he owed money to out at from Vegas and possibly even Duluth. I don't know that for sure, but he did the Duluth event this year also. So not sure about that one, but I do know there were some people owed money from Vegas, and I canceled that event. Sent him his money back, 100% of it. I also dropped Ken Boggle a message about what was going on and what I decided to do, and he got back to me and said that he completely understood, and which I was really glad to hear. And in fact, he wanted to get back in touch with me later, possibly do something. Um, so that's been done, and something that I just felt strong about. I contacted Michael about it last night, and kind of left it up in the air a little bit. But then the more I thought about it this morning and all, I decided that it wasn't a good idea. That I just didn't feel right about it. So I canceled that. He was kind of upset with me about it, but it. That's one person that's upset versus the multitude of people that were upset at Vegas with what went on. So that's that. Other thing I want to touch base on is each year my birthday comes up as everybody else does in December, and we've always done a fundraiser to try to help Lost Limbs Foundation. My goal this year is trying to get 6,500, and we've been pretty fortunate as of right now. I'm looking over here to make sure numbers are right. Just refreshed it. We're at 4,206. So $4,206 right now is in the fund, and that's what's been donated so far. So looking that's looking really good, and I appreciate that everybody's donated. It goes until, and it's always kind of screwy how they do that stuff, but I think it's showing till 12:59 p.m. on December 30th. So there's still 9 days. So please make donate what you can, and share it out there. If you can't donate, that's fine. I understand completely this time of the year, but share it out there. We'd appreciate it, and that would help a bunch. But so we're just trying to get the word out. We got about 9 days left to donate to that, and how we're doing that is for every $5 that is donated, and you can donate less than $5. That's great. I mean, you can send. If I had everybody that was a um, that liked the Ashmore page and liked the Rhodes page, and then and Mike and I friends on there, we'd probably end up with about $20,000 real fast if everybody donated $1. So, but donate $1 is fine, but for every $5 that is donated, we basically put your name in a hat. And when we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to draw names on December 31st, the morning of December 31st, New Year's Eve, that morning, and we're going to draw names out of the hat, and those people will be the ones that will win the prizes that we've had donated. You can win more than one. Somebody asked me that earlier. If you donate $50, you got 10 chances of winning. If you win one, you still got 9 chances in the hat. So there's a good chance that you can do that. It's all going to be computer generated, and my daughter-in-law is going to do it. She doesn't even know the people's names on the list, and she's just going to draw numbers, and we'll make it work like that. So, but we're looking forward to that. And just to kind of give you an idea of what we've got, so as far as prizes and everything. We've got a lot of investigations that are coming up that we're going to be donating, that were donated to this, that are going to be given away. We've got donations to Hinsdale House, Wildwood Sanitarium, Madison Seminary, Fairfield County Infirmary, Cheney Mansion, Rhodes Hotel, Ashmore Estates. We've got gift certificates from Sandy Alvarez, Sandy Pants, $50 gift certificate for their website. They've got custom shirts and hoodies and things like that. So we've got that there. Um, Rachel Marie Archibald has donated jewelry, some rune stones, and her mom and dad donated a box, a decorative box with some like chess players on it that we're going to do. And then we've also got a donation from Nick Groff, a surprise donation from that. I'm not even sure what it is. Daniel Class told me about it, that he decided he wanted to donate something, so we've got that. And I actually had a guy that confirmed just actually I think I'm on the phone here or on the radio here, just confirmed that he's donated some action figures. He's involved with one of the Bigfoot TV shows, and he's donated some action figures. From Bigfoot, basically, I think is what it is that he's going to donate. So, we've got a lot of stuff coming in. We're going to do some shirts from Ashmore, shirts from Rhodes, probably some Lost Limb shirts, and just a lot of great little prizes and donations that we're going to be doing. So, we're looking forward to that, and it's going to be fun. Lots of chances to win. So, share it out there. And you can find it on my own personal page, just Robin Terry, and it's all open to the public there. And then I think we can probably put that in the we'll stick a link in here. I think I can get that done too, and we'll put a link in here as well to everybody, so we can do that as well. So put that out there, so that'd be a link on the pages, and hopefully it'll come through right, and it'll work. So we'll see. But yep, I'm gonna stick the link out there, so I'm hoping that it works. But if not, just go to my personal page, or we'll put a link on the other pages, the Paranormal Chat page, Ashmore Estates page, Rhodes Hotel page. Mike shares it. It's on Lost Limbs Foundation page, so it's all over the place. But yeah, just find that, and it'd be kind of cool to see this thing pop up a little bit more tonight, even while we're on the show. But it's at 4206 right now, and we're hoping that it will increase from there. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll get more of those coming in all the time, I'm sure. And so I picked okay, I just got a message here that can the sounds okay on this? I thought it was. I checked everything earlier and it looked like it was okay. I haven't seen anybody in the comments say anything about the sound, so I'm hoping the sound is working okay. So we'll see. Katie sent me notes like it was her. So okay, well, I'm glad she got her sound figured out then, because we're going to talk to her in just a minute here. So Katie Hultay is going to be on here, and you guys have some questions for her, just put them in there in the comments, and I'll try to hit them and pass them on to her. So looking forward to it. And Katie's involved with the spirit boxes and ghost boxes and all, and does a lot with that. So let's bring Katie in, and we'll get her in here and talk to her and get things going. There
Hello.
she is. Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm good. Is my camera not correct?
You're about half of you is in there. There you go. Yeah, I can see you good now. So
all right. Well, okay. Let me try to get it. Hi. Okay. Let's see. That's strange. I thought I set it up. This is my first show, so I don't have anything, professionally set up yet. So
hey,
I think I'm too zoomed in.
Not a problem. We don't have anything professionally set up here either. I forgot to. I have a set of wireless headphones that I use, and earbuds, and I forgot to charge them, so they're on the charger. But the white kind of blends in with my head, so it's that time of year, so nobody ever notices the headphones on for the most part, anyway. Yeah. So, how are you doing this evening?
I am good. How about you?
Better. I've had a little spurt with the hospital with an infected leg and all, so got that through. Yeah, so it's done, but getting around a lot better now. So hopefully that's working out. So there. Okay, I think I'm back. I'm not sure. I think I disappeared for a second. I have no idea why, but so yep, the internet stuff is kind of locked up for some reason. So, But so just to kind of start off with that simple, stupid question that we always ask everybody. So how'd you get involved with the paranormal?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question. Um, there's like the typical story of like how, most people are like interested when they're children or they have an experience when they're a child. Um, and I had, a few of those experiences. I was always curious. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, yep,
Okay, just making sure.
yep.
Um, anyhow, but it wasn't until I got sick that I became ultra interested in the paranormal. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to get through my illness, and I was alone by myself, and I wanted to find a way to talk to the living in case I should pass over. And so that's when I started to learn about the ghost box. And that's when I contacted my husband, Steve.
Steve, yep.
And that's how I
Now,
met him.
and a lot of people don't know, but Steve Hultay's been doing boxes for quite a few years. And actually, I've got quite a few of Steve's boxes that I use on different occasions. So Steve, so she kind of comes through this a little bit more natural too, with Steve being involved. But you do your own thing with these boxes, though, don't you?
I do. But what happened with me is, okay, so I met Steve that way, and then we got married and all that stuff. And he would go to work during the day, and I would go through all of his electronics. And how I taught myself is because I was curious how everything worked. And so I would basically snoop through his stuff while he was at work. And then I would go online and I would go through like DigiKey catalog and learn about the components and what they did. And I was very scared to learn how to solder. But once I learned how to solder, the world opened for me.
So, how long ago did you make your first box?
Oh gosh, I should have written that down. A few years ago, maybe a couple years at least.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And then
you make
I don't know if you can see because my camera apparently didn't turn out correctly. But let's see this way. This is this is one of my first ones. You can't really see it. My camera's awful, but that's one of my first boxes that I made.
how many have you made now?
I don't know. Yeah.
You're not like Frank Sumption. You don't number everyone
I
that you do.
I try to number them unless they're like contained into the radio case. Like we have the retro Dream Sky radios, and we just stopped numbering them. So I didn't number them. But if they're custom enclosures, or if it's something where I might want to try something new, so it's not necessarily a one-off, it's similar, but maybe a little bit of something different to it, then I will number it. So I would say, let's see, I would say as far as the complete number of boxes that I've built, including the phonetic devices, is probably nearing, I want to say 100, but I could be wrong. I honestly, I mean, I should tally that up someday.
Yeah, find out exactly what you've done,
Yeah,
and you'd
yeah.
be surprised how many you actually have made.
Hmm.
So, what goes into building these? I mean, you can't just take a radio and say, "I'm just going to do this," and so you've got to know some electronics and things like that to be able to do these. So, how do you actually work with these to make them, to make them work?
Oh, listen to all the advice that people give you, and then kind of determine, I don't think that there's one best way. There probably actually is one best way, but there's different ways to skin a cat, I guess is what you could say. Um, for me, when I first started, I started with radios. I bought a lot from Goodwill of I think 250 FM radios, like
Wow.
dollar store radios. So that gave me a plenty of ones to ruin, if I messed up. And I kept every single messed up one that I have because I knew that I didn't know what I was doing at the time. So I probably burned through 25, 50 of them in the beginning because I was impatient and I would have the air conditioning on with the soldering iron on, so there was like thermal shock, and I was using the wrong type of wire. So I learned from basically talking to other people and talking to Steve on how to improve my technique. And then once I improved my technique as far as like the actual construction, I would listen as I'm building. And there was one time where I heard, Frank, help her. Frank, help her. And I was like, no, no way. And then they would say, stop, stop, this is good. And then I just felt compelled to keep going. Like, I don't know, I'm kind of weird that way. So, and every time I kept going after they would say stop, it wouldn't work. So I learned how to listen as I'm building.
Now, you said you had the voices that said stop and Frank help her. Were those
Mhm.
just voices you heard, or were those coming through the radio?
They were coming through the radio as I was testing the sound.
Now,
So
with the
yeah,
radios, do you kind of do them all the same now, or you everyone a little bit different as far as the internal organs?
it depends on the radio. Um, if I mean, I have a basic method that I use. I use my own sweep circuit, and Steve uses a different one. Um, but as far as like the powering of it and the voltage regulation, that might change depending on the radio itself. So that would be the only thing that would probably change as far as like radios are concerned.
So I've seen Steve jumped in here too, and it's just is
I
listening
hope
in
he
on your
heckles me.
yeah, listening in on you. So I could I could delete him out of here so he can't listen to
Yeah, block him.
us. But now with the radios and all, and you built these. How do you test these things to see if you really think they're working or not?
Like I said, I listen as I build, and every time that I've heard communication, I'm like, ooh, I can still make it better. I can make it more clear. And then the communication stops, and that's what ends up on a rainy day shelf for later for me to revisit and fix at a later date. Um, so that's my process. I'm sure other people have their different process. And then once I finish it, I often will give it to Steve because I'm more of a listener and Steve is more of a guy that does sessions. Like I'm not much of a talker. So um, I just think of something in my head and if I hear an answer back, then I know I'm on the right track.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've used these radios quite a bit, and it's amazing sometimes when you get, what I like to do basically is I like to ask questions that I know the answer to, and
Mhm.
just to see if the radio is actually responding.
Yeah.
I was using Steve's one of Steve's boxes one night, and I have to get one of yours now too. But I was using one of Steve's in the back of our building here, and we were sitting there, and somebody kind of questions like, "Does this thing really work?" I'm like, I don't know. Let's try it. And so we started sitting there, and I said, "How many people are sitting at this table?" And it said 7. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Okay." And there was 7 people sitting there. So I'm like, "Well, that's kind of cool, you know." And so it's like,
Mhm.
"Ah, it's coincidental." I'm like, "Well, let's try something else." So I said, "How many of the 7 people sitting at this table are women?" And it came back and said 4, and it was right. And I'm still there are people that are still like, nah, I don't know. I said, how many men are sitting at this table? And I was waiting for it to say, hey, dumbass, it's 3 at this, but yeah, so it answered 3, and like I don't know what else I got to do to make you understand this.
You bring up something that I find as a valuable tool, and that's validation. And that's validation. That's how you can establish contact. Like you can say, what is that? Wait, there's the camera. What is this? You know, and if it says glasses, then you know that you've established communication, and then you can move on to other things. You know,
Right.
um, some people view validation questions as like you, that we're treating them as like a circus or like a circus act or something like that. And I don't view it that way. I think that if it's done in a respectful way and you know for the greater good or whatever you want to call it, then it serves a purpose. You can use validation in the beginning, be like, yes, there's something of intelligence communicating back to me. And, because it's answering the questions correctly.
Yep,
And
I
then,
agree
and then you can
completely.
move on. But some people feel like it's disrespectful to ask them to, like, like it's, hey, can you do a trick for me? Can you tell me, how many fingers I'm holding up, or, what, what's in my hand? What am I holding? And I don't view it that way.
Now, I always look at that if they want to communicate with us, they will, and if they
Hmm.
don't want to, they won't. I mean, it's as
Yeah,
simple as that.
yeah.
And I had a Frank's box. I've got a few of those. I had one of the Frank's boxes one night sitting in a room, and I had a friend that wanted to borrow one. So I showed her how it worked and everything. I turned it on. We let it sit for a few minutes, and we were just started asking questions. I say, hey, I've said, do you know who made this box? And a voice came through and said, Frank. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, that's right. I said, Frank did. I said, so if you know Frank, what did he think he was, or what's his Facebook profile picture look like? And it said Purple Princess. And I'm like, "Oh my
Neat.
god." And, in fact, I was like, almost not shaking, but the hair standing up my arms, and the girl standing next to me is like, "What do you get so excited about?" I'm like, "You don't know?" And she's like, "No." I said, "That's what Frank thought." And I went to
Yeah,
his Facebook page and I said, "See, here's his profile picture. It's a purple princess."
yeah.
And so when she got the box, she took it to Chicago and she asked the same questions up there and she got the same answers.
Neat.
So,
That's amazing. I
oh
mean,
yeah.
it just shows you that something's going on. I wish we could say, like, definitively, like, how, you know it all works, but we can say that there's something of intelligence coming through sometimes.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, you never know, something's gonna pop through there and come through and just make you say, "How can that be?" And especially
Hmm.
with the skeptics, and I'm not one that ever has to try to show a skeptic that they're wrong. That here's how not to be a skeptic. I'm okay with skeptics. I love them. And
Hmm.
but when I have a box to sit there and they start scratching their head and like, this doesn't make any sense. I can't explain it. I'm like, I just kind of love it. I'm like, well, this is all I got to show you. So I thought I'd mention that to you and let you see here's what's coming through, and it's up to you to
Hmm.
decide.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Cynthia mentioned that she like the box
Uh,
that you've got sitting there to your right. She said she likes that box.
hey,
So,
Cynthia, thank you for the Christmas card. Your
so
sweetheart.
yep, she said she wants that box badly. So, do you do some custom boxes for people?
I do. Right now, I'm kind of put custom work on hold because I have a long overdue project that needs to be finished, and I owe somebody. They've been
Uh
waiting for years on something
oh.
that, yeah. So I need to make good on that. And and actually today was a good day. I'm ready to start, putting this project into an enclosure and send it off to who I owe it to. And then, hopefully January I can start doing more custom work.
No, that's great. How long does it take you to build a box?
Forever.
Obviously, a few years in some cases.
It depends. Sometimes I have a little bit of OCD. So sometimes I'm like, oh, there's a speck of dirt. I got to get that off of there, or, you know, but I also try, like, for the custom stuff, I try to learn something new with each uh, build. So I might use a new, and this is more along the ITC arts and crafts part of it. I might try to use a new material or a new technique, and sometimes it doesn't work out, so then I have to start over. So, and but as far as building the circuit, I pretty much know what I'm doing if I'm going to do a custom build for that.
Have you found that some things, I mean, just as simple as wire or connectors or things like that, make a difference?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's been a few people online that have helped me out a lot, and my husband has as well along the way, where I was using the wrong uh, type of wire or the wrong voltage regulator. I for a while I used a voltage regulator that was pretty noisy, and someone said, "Hey, don't use that. Use a LM317." I said, "Okay, thanks," and it's been working out great.
Good. Uh, the biggest thing that a lot of people complain about the boxes is that they're so noisy when they're
Yeah,
just scanning. Have you done anything with that, or yours like it's kind of like that as well, or
I don't, because I'm more of a purist. I don't like the idea of removing communication. I think that can be done like, post processing. Like, if you've recorded your session, you can always run it through Audacity or, Adobe Audition or something like that. But I do see, I mean, it's really depends on the tuner and the way the box is built, I think, as far as like the noise. And sometimes I think the noise may add some value, so I don't know, I'm more of a purist in that way, where I don't want to try to remove too much and and make it where potential communication might not occur as far as radio is concerned.
have you taken apart any boxes from anybody just to see how theirs were done?
Have I what?
Have taken boxes from somebody else apart just to kind of see how they built
No,
things? Oh,
no.
yeah, but no, okay.
Steve has so many boxes here, and he has one rule, and he and I actually had a discussion uh one night, this is many years ago, where I said, why don't you open it up and dissect it and see what's going on? He's like, nope. When I started building, I said I would never do that. And so I and now, as time has gone on and I've learned how to build and stuff like that, I respect that, because imagine if I were to send a box to another builder. They might open it up, dissect it, and learn something, or find something that I did wrong, or whatever, um, you know, or I don't know. I just think that it should be, Steve's builds are Steve's builds, Frank's builds are Frank's builds, just it's
Right.
respect. It's respect.
Yep, and just leave them the way they are, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because I know I've got a couple of Frank's boxes that don't work, and
Mhm.
so I'm gonna maybe just open it up sometime just to see if there's a wire that's fell off or something like that. But I do
Yeah.
know I've got a couple like that.
But as far as like, I mean, Frank is no longer here.
Right.
So I think that's a different situation, where I think that if like you had a Frank's box that wasn't working, then it would be acceptable to look at it, you know,
Yeah, and
and
this is one of his early on ones that are about half the size of a table that like the in the 20 the 20 models or something like that, number
uh
20s, and
size
yeah,
of a
and
computer
yeah, yeah, pretty
in the
much,
80s.
yeah. So, yeah. Well, and this one's kinda the I've got 3 of them that are really kind of special to me because not only are they Frank's boxes, but Rosemary Ellen Guiley had those, and I got them
Mhm.
from Rosemary. And, so, and she's passed away as well, and, so, yeah, so those mean a little bit more to me than,
Yeah, yeah,
than some of the other ones I've got as well, so
yeah. And over the years, things will degrade, so it might just be a matter of replacing a wire.
right.
You know,
That's kinda what I'm hoping.
yeah.
So, Rosa says, "I need to ask you about your, Tesla coil."
Well, that would be my husband's Tesla coil.
Ah, so that's for
So
another show, Rosa,
yeah,
sorry. So
tech show.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't know if you were messing with Tesla coils or not. So I thought you were
I
just kinda
I
doing the
do have a
boxes.
curiosity. I have this idea that I don't even know how to make it happen yet, but I'm really into phonetics, and I have a couple of random phonetic devices that I've made that I think would be interesting to incorporate a Tesla coil into. And I'm just trying to let my mind mull it over, and maybe something will come of it in the future.
Yep. I've used the Jacob's ladders trying to, do some stuff with EMF detection, stuff like that, but
Mhm.
I've never tried the Tesla coil, but I didn't have any luck with the Jacobs ladder, it's like 50,000 volts and didn't really do a whole lot of
Yeah,
anything anyway.
yeah. I'm not into electrocution.
Yeah, exactly. So Yeah, Steven mentioned he's rebuilt a bunch of the Frank's boxes and or
Oh, there
his
you
Frank's
go.
boxes. So,
We
yep.
can help you out.
And then
Yes,
James,
James is right.
yep.
Hmm.
And yeah, sometimes it's just a matter, like James said, sometimes it's just a matter of cleaning them. You know,
Yeah,
there's stuff in there that gets in there and just doesn't
absolutely.
work out so well. So, have you got any new boxes that you're wanting to build, that you want to try something a little bit different, that coming up on the radar sometime?
Sure. Let me get this one down. Well, okay, as far as radio, since we were talking about radio, um, one of the
There's that.
things that I
There goes
thought,
Cynthia's box. So,
sorry, Cynthia, here's a different one. This one, darn it, I wish I would have fixed, I'm so sorry that I didn't fix my camera before. Let's see if I can get this. Let's see. Oh, it's
we
really too bright. Okay, let's
that's
see.
not it. We can see it. Okay.
Can you?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
so this is an urn, okay? And but this is one band only. And what this the way I made this was like, let's say if you don't want to deal, like some people like to have lots of controls, but other people just want to just kind of let the box turn the box on and just let it do its thing. And this is that kind of box. I call this a chaos box. And so basically the only control you have to use is the volume. And what it does is it's random. So it goes from it has, I figure out the range, the voltage range for the stations, and then I have it randomly choose in between there each time. Like so, but then there's a random interval so there's a random timing involved as well. So you have basically a random sweep and a random sweep. If that makes sense.
Yep, pretty much so.
So do you want to hear it?
Sure, turn it on.
Okay. Hopefully it's charged up. Two sons. Yes, can you say Robin? We're just doing a test. Thank you.
That sounds pretty clean, actually. It doesn't have a lot of the hissing sound that some of these radios I heard do.
Yeah, I think a lot of that depends on the tuner and the construction of it.
Now, so many of these right now, I mean, like the SB7s are really popular with a lot of people, and they're AM, FM, and then you can do forward sweeps, backward sweeps. Have you seen anything? I mean, is there any way that you see that one works better than another?
I have a confession. I've never used an SB7. I married a ghost box snob, so and that was my introduction. So I've just heard them on videos. So um I I don't have this type of box in here, but I mean we do reverse speech, not sweep, but reverse speech to help kind
Okay.
of like eliminate some skepticism. Um So I don't know. I really can't comment on the commercial products because I just never really played around with them. I should do that someday.
But now yours are all basically a forward sweep, except for the voice. Then you said that on backwards sometimes.
Right. I do make, and if my husband is listening, maybe he could bring in the Forever box. I do make a Forever box, which is I named it that because it's a word play on the word forward and reverse. So basically, what it is, I wish I had one here. Uh, it's there's a knob basically where you can actually do in between forward and reverse. So And then so you can almost hear forward. If you're like smack in the middle, you can hear forward, and then right after you hear the reverse of what it said. So if you think about how people say like with EVPs, if you listen to it forward and then you reverse it, you might hear a complimentary message in reverse. So that was kind of like my thought process. So, but obviously, if you're going to reverse audio, there's going to be a slight delay, which is why you hear it. Thank you. That's why you hear it immediately after the forward speech. So this is a forever box with the creature of the Black Lagoon.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Would you like to hear it?
Sure, crank that thing up.
Okay. Let's see. Let's try. We'll do random FM. And what I usually do is I usually start it slow sweep and completely forward. So this is more of like if you're a seasoned ITC person. And for young. Okay, now I'm gonna start going reverse. Like look at this. Now I'm all the way reverse. This is a noisier box though. Thank you. So this is a noisier box, and I'm continually learning to how to, this I think is basically because there's a lot going on the internals, and I'm sure there are ways that I can improve it, but I think it works pretty well, if it's dialed in correctly.
Yeah, it sounds like it's there's picking up a lot of stuff and everything there, so it sounds like it works pretty good.
James, tube radios. I have probably almost 1,000 radio tubes. But I don't know how to mess with them. Like, I know how to test them to see if they're good, but that's about it.
Yeah, I gotta say you had one that it started interacting and it wasn't even plugged in. So that's kind of bizarre.
So that's like who did that? Bocci, was it? Who was it? Some Italian guy, I think. I can't remember the name, but
yeah, you talked about the picking up the voices and going backwards. I know some friends of mine, the Kling brothers, they've done a lot of EVP stuff that they've run those backwards and pick up words that were there that they just understand, but when they ran it backwards, it made perfectly good sense. And I've actually done that myself. I picked up stuff that was, in fact, somebody had sent me something one day, and he said, "Listen to this." He's like, "It's really cool," and I listened to it, and I thought, that doesn't sound right. I put it on, I used Gold Wave, and I put it on Gold Wave, and I ran it backwards. It was a TV commercial. And that I'm not sure I don't know if they recorded it and just tried to reverse it just to try to fool somebody or not, but it was a TV commercial. It was a current TV commercial. So I just kind of like, nah, I'm just not even going to let that, I'm just going to let it go and not even comment about it because I'm not sure if they're playing games with me or what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of commercials, though, that's where, you can get into a whole discussion / debate about sweep speed,
Right.
Like some people like it really slow, and then they end up, not all, but some people might end up making up a story around radio words versus spirit communication.
Sure.
And that's something that is concerning for me because then that becomes delusional. It creates like something that's not actually happening. They make up a story, and I don't know the correct way to stop that from happening. I mean, because it's a user error, basically.
Right. Yep. And I always tell people when they're listening to boxes or oviluses or anything like that, don't make it fit your situation.
Yeah.
If it's not a clear cut, obvious that, like when I was asking the questions about the number of people at the table, if it's not clear cut and obvious like that, don't make it, don't make it fit. I mean, just,
Mhm.
don't take some word and say, well, yeah, that's where I was yesterday. So they must have known where it's like, no,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
go with what
It's
works
easy
and
to
that's
do,
it.
though. It's easy to make it fit. So you have
Oh,
to, even watch yourself sometimes.
sure. So Jerry said he's looking for good box and then he followed that up and want to know where you can order one.
Oh, that's another thing that's on my list of things to do. You can, Jerry, you can go to HultayParanormal.com, and there's a email box that you can enter your email in there and be notified when our website is up. I'm trying to schedule things. I'm thinking that the first week of January, hopefully, fingers crossed, that I will be able to work on our website and get it finished. So it's been a long time coming. It's like 95% done. So
Yeah, those things can take some time, that's for sure. So if you didn't catch that, let me just put it up here,
oh, thank you.
HultayParanormal.com. So, and but yeah, so you can check it out there. And now you have your boxes there, and then Steve has his boxes there also. They're both on the same. Okay. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so check it out there and go on their website. I can guarantee you. I mean, I know that that Katie's been there with Steve, and the boxes I've used for Steve, I've actually had. And I'm not saying because you're on the show, because there are people that know me would know that I wouldn't say, if I thought the boxes were horrible, I'd say these are horrible. But I've had better luck with Steve's boxes than I've had with almost most of the other boxes I've got. And I think I've got about maybe close to 10 of them.
Yeah.
And so that I've picked up along the way. And but yeah, in fact,
He has a
if
really good ear. He has a
so
really good ear.
yeah, and if my camera would fit, I'd walk it in the other room. I've got them all on a shelf in there, and I've got them all lined up on a shelf that I have. So, but yeah, I've had really good luck with Hultay boxes. I've got to order one of Katie sometime just so I have it sitting up there and using that one as well. But yeah, you can't go wrong with it. I'm sure that she's learned from one of the best ones in the ITC doing things. So. Don't feel that you're just throwing your money out there in the air and see what happens.
Yeah. Thank
See
you.
now, Jackie's got the perfect answer there for Cynthia. Just get one of each of them. That's kind of the way I do it. Seems like sometimes just order a few of them.
Yeah.
So you said it takes a while forever to do these. Do you think that you'll be have a chance to do a few more of them in 2022?
Yeah, I always have goals for myself. Like I have a couple of rules where I want to do something new with each build, like if it's something that I can do, on a unique level. So, but I do need to rein that in a little bit because sometimes it does create for a slower process, And for 2022, I am working on a phonetic device
Oh,
that
that's cool.
uses that uses analog randomness. And I'm wondering, would you guys like to hear a preview of it?
Oh, sure, bring it on.
Okay. I don't have an enclosure, but I do have it plugged in. And let's see. It's gonna do its standard power on. Yeah. That's not the phonetic.
يتسجل التفاعل كما ستكسر عن تلفنتها.
Racing arachno follow it up a notch. A heterosexonate and elixir.
Jackson, say something else.
So that's basically the idea of that.
That'll be interesting when you get that thing done.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I started that project in 2018, and then Steve had heart valve replacement surgery, and I changed boards. I changed the whole, like, I've revamped this project so many times that it's definitely it's coming to an end. Like, I think I've got it.
Figured it out by now.
Yeah.
So are there other people out there in the ITC world that have kind of influenced you, or you kind of lean on them for, some guidance, or people that maybe just use boxes? I mean, I know one offhand that uses boxes. He doesn't build them, but he uses them. He does a lot of classes and everything on talking about the boxes.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, I find it I find the certain things interesting as far as there's certain people that seem to have, they're like ghost magnets or spirit communication magnets, where they seem to always get communication no matter what. I find that interesting, and I find the sensor stuff interesting. Not so much where I want to do it. I want to leave that part up to the experts, and then I want to tap into their information to see, like, I'm curious what variables have to take place for the communication, like when it occurs. So stuff like that I find intriguing. As far as like phonetics, Bill Chappell, was an inspiration, and Frank's RoboBox is inspiration regarding that. There's inspiration everywhere, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are out there using the boxes and working with them. A couple people come to mind for me. I don't know if you've met either one of them. Is April Slaughter, and
I've heard of her.
yeah, I tended
blonde
to
hair?
have what?
Does she have blonde hair?
Well, most of the time it's red.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different person. Okay, go ahead.
She's out in Utah, but
Okay.
I was at an event a few years back where she'd got a box from somebody that loaned her one, and she was picking up on her grandfather, and she just couldn't believe that it was him. In fact, she was very very skeptical of the box until it started doing things like singing lullabies that her grandfather wrote basically for her. And she was like, I don't understand this. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's like there's stuff that's being said to this box that there's no way that anybody would know it because it's too personal. So I know she does a lot with them.
I think that's neat because I kind of have a scientific brain. My father, he was an atheist. And my mom, though, she's religious. So, but growing up, my dad kind of won that argument. So I didn't grow up going to church, and I kind of grew up thinking, once you're dead, you're dead. That's about it. So when I first started, checking out the ghost box and stuff like that, validation was key for me in order to believe that something's going on. So
James was asking, in fact, the box that you were just showing us there, I just want to know if that was Latin because it did sound foreign to me. But
it does. It does have a foreign sound, especially as like a da 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 kind of sound. It's not. It uses the combination. I have 16 different modes on there right now because I was kind of just playing around with different coding styles and different setups, trying to figure out what might work the best. And so I just included them all because I can't decide. But the way the speech chip works is you can use the regular English alphabet, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or you can use a phoneme alphabet. And this one uses alphabet, which has like, God, I can't remember, like 52, I think, different phonemes. But depending, there's a random speed selected, and depending on, whatever random configuration happens, it does at times sound foreign.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then Jackie was what did you call that one again? And she was looking, what the purpose of the that box.
Okay, so the name of that box is Phoenix. And the purpose is to use analog-based randomness to see if communication can occur. And so basically it's randomly picking phonemes or English alphabet letters, depending on what mode it's on, and just to see if, it can create, see if some form of intelligence can use it. I don't know. I mean, I've at times I've felt like it has said something of intelligence, and then other times I'm just like, I start walking around talking like the box, and Steve laughs at me. But the idea behind it is basically, I got very intrigued by the idea of entropy. So if you think of like flipping a coin, you have a 50-50 chance of getting something, heads or tails. But what if you had a coin that had like 1,000 sides to it? Then your pool is much bigger. So within the Phoenix, what I try to do is create as big of a pool as I can of possibility. And the theory kind of, for me, if you want to, do more research or whatever, you can look at the Big Bang, because there's a lot of talk about entropy at the Big Bang. And it's interesting because right before the Big Bang happened, or right when the Big Bang happened, they think that it was very, very low entropy, which is bad in a way, because that means it's predeterministic. And that means that, I don't know what that means, but if something's predetermined, then it means it was done by design. There's some form of intelligence, behind it. But right after the Big Bang, the entropy level increased. That's like when they say our universe is expanding. That's, more chaos or whatever. That's one definition. I mean, there's multiple definitions, I think of that word, but it's really hard for me to put that into a statement. I
Sure.
guess.
Yeah, I think like Ken said, some the boxes are interesting, and to use them more, and just I think to use them, but don't fall in love with them either. That everything is there's gospel. So that's the big thing I look at these things as seeing, and because they're all they'll come through with some things, but make sure they fit what you're doing.
Have you found that sometimes some not so nice spirits come through?
I've had a couple times that we've had some choice words that came through that were basically talking to us that I know that with FCC they're not allowed to say stuff like that on the radio, and so
That's
it's like when
actually good though, because
yeah,
then
exactly.
that's their way of saying, hey, we're here.
Yep, that's
This
what I
is
mean.
not
It's
radio.
like those words wouldn't be used through licensing with FCC. So it's like, yeah, it makes you kind of wonder. And now, Jerry, I'm not sure exactly which ones you're talking about that were available. So you might have to kind of follow up with that with another one there. And let's see. The lights on the K2 are basically to show you as the intensity increases is what the idea is, on that. So they start off, I think if I'm going right, like green, and then yellow's in the middle, and then red. So that's pretty much what those lights are meaning. with anything, and I'm going to ask you about your boxes here with that in a second too. That kind of follows along the same thing, but like with anything, you need to get a baseline. So if you're using those, Jackie, you need to go through the house or wherever you're investigating at, and just try walking around with that K2 and seeing if it just stays lit. I know with here in my building, the theater that I live in, it's always yellow. And so it's like that's our baseline is pretty much always yellow. I'm not sure if it's the Wi-Fi or all the electrical in the building or what it is, um, but yeah, so just keep that in mind. And now, when I was going to ask you too, Katie, on the boxes, do you have to basically like turn a box on and let it sit there for a few minutes to kind of acclimate itself to the room, or is it just like ready to go when you turn it on?
I think with radio, it's quicker. At least it seems to be quicker. I have a different phonetic device that has recently regained a little bit of popularity that I almost threw in the trash. Like I almost threw this project away. But I listened to that thing for hours and hours and hours and hours. And then one day I was overdoing something else and I heard, Katie, I'm talking to you in your office. And I was like, whoa, that's like way more than a radio would say.
Right.
But it's like it's a play on the speak and spell sort of thing sound. So it's a very robotic thing. So it can kind of drive you a little bit wacky listening to it. I think there's something to be said about how, like, if you're working with a new device, I don't think that brand new devices might work instantaneously. I think they need to be used. And I think that the more that they're used, the more I can't really explain it like exactly, but my experience thus far has been that. It seems like radio seems to be a much quicker way to verify whether or not it's a usable thing versus like the newer phonetic devices that I've been working on. I think they take a little bit longer. I think maybe they need to figure out how to use it. I don't know.
Yep. No, I agree with you on that. In fact, I think I misunderstood Jackie's question there on your Phoenix. The lights on the Phoenix, do those mean anything? Are they?
Oh no. That's just an external speaker that happens to have lights on it. It's all on a circuit board right now, so I don't have it in a box. I have been trying to figure out. I need to talk to. Maybe I'll talk to you later, Robin. I need to figure out how to explain the Phoenix idea because I have so many different modes, and I know that there are a few that are gems, but I don't know how to explain it perfectly, I guess, to everybody else. But
Sure.
lights I could probably incorporate some sort of indicator lights, like, because some of the modes are I've incorporated probabilities. So when you think of phonemes, think of, like, let's say if you were to buy like the stickers for your, like the alphabetical stickers, like for school or whatever, that you always get like so many number of A's or B's.
Right.
And that's for written. But for oral, spoken word, there was only one person that ever figured out the probabilities of that. Like how many, when you're speaking, how often is the vowel E spoken? And so I read the paper that I think it was Rebecca Hayden. Can't remember the year, but so I used her information and some additional information with that to use a weighted probabilities for some of these modes.
If there's always those little extra things you can pop on there, and as time goes on, you're going to change things, you're going to add stuff, take stuff off, and because that's I see a lot of these guys building the boxes, and I don't see that many girls. I think you're the only girl I know that's actually building the spirit box. I know a couple girls are doing stuff, different equipment. Elizabeth Saint does a lot of equipment, but I don't think she does anything spirit box wise. But yeah, you always find something that you can change here and there.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully you'll get a chance to start building some boxes coming up here in the next
I
next
will.
few weeks
I
and
will.
all.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that'll be fun. But now, how do people get a hold of you guys? Have Facebook pages and all, or how do you?
We do have a Facebook page, Hultay Paranormal Facebook page, and you can go to our website and sign up to be notified when it's ready. Hopefully, beginning of next year. And I would probably say my husband is probably more online than I am, but you can message Steve Hultay or me, Katie Hultay, and yeah, that's probably the best way.
But yeah, I can tell you from using it myself. Like I said, I've had a lot of good luck and a lot of good success with using the boxes. Like I said, I don't have any of the Katie's right now, but those that know me know that that'll probably change pretty quick. And but yeah, I've had a lot of good luck with the Steve's boxes that I have, and I've never had a problem with them. They worked really good, and I've enjoyed using them. So. Katie, anything else before we let you get out of here for tonight? I mean, I know that she had kind of commented earlier. It's like I haven't really done this.
Yeah,
It's a
thank
great
you.
job.
Thank you for being my first interview show.
So no, you did a great job with it. I mean, it's an interesting topic, and then like I said, we don't get that many females that are building equipment anyway, and I've always been a strong advocate of females in the paranormal. I think there's more females in the paranormal than what you see on TV.
Yeah.
They're out there. There's a lot more. I mean, at Ashmore Estates, we see more females come in and investigate than I do males. And it's just a matter of they're not recognized as much with the in the TV the TV type situations at all. And who cares? It's just TV. That doesn't mean anything anyway.
I never have time to watch TV, so
I don't watch it either, honestly.
just for me, like being online, especially in my early days. I mean, I've made so many mistakes online. It's not even funny, but especially in the early days, I'd be like, "No, you guys are wrong. This is blah 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 blah," and they'd be like, "Shut up, you're a girl," or
Yeah.
something, like some sort of bad comment like that, and yeah.
But nope, they'll once they can start using the box and everything, they'll change their minds and all. And I never look at it. I guess it's probably I don't have any daughters, but I've coached girls softball, girls basketball, girls hockey, and so just about anything I've coached has been girls related. I've coached boys hockey and all too, but coached a lot of girls sports, and I think girls need a chance to to come out and show what they can do this stuff, and it's great because I know that you guys can, and and you're doing an excellent job with it, and it's just going to get better and better all the time. And I know that females seem like they put a lot more care into certain things, which probably is why it takes longer to do stuff than just like
Yeah.
just rapid fire. Let's just get them done and get it down, just do them all the same, be done with it. So
Yeah.
but I appreciate you being on tonight, and
Thank you.
make sure you guys look up Katie Hultay or Hultay Paranormal and check them out. And if you need a box from Katie, just feel free to get a hold of her. So once again, Katie, thanks for coming on, and
Thank you.
tell Steve hi, and you guys have a great
Hello.
evening.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
All right. So that was great having Katie on tonight, talking about spirit box and everything. Just kind of reiterate, just check out the fundraiser we've got going for to help Lost Limbs Foundation. We're at 4271, so it's came up a little bit tonight. And next week, where am I at here with this? Next week, we got our last show of the year. And some of you guys may recognize these names, Jennifer and Corey Heinzen. They own the Conjuring House, and they're going to be finishing the year with us next week. They'll be on here next Tuesday night. So we're looking forward to that and having them on. So be sure you check it out. So we will see you all hopefully next Tuesday night. We'll talk to you. Have a wonderful Christmas. And until then, be safe and happy holidays, everybody.
My name is Mike, and I'm the founder of the Lost Limbs Foundation. The Lost Limbs Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides assistance to amputee children in need of prosthetics. I started the charity after my own struggles after my leg being amputated just above the knee. Prosthetics cost thousands of dollars, and the average lifespan is 5 to 7 years on a prosthetic. Kids are constantly growing, so they'll go through multiple prosthetics throughout their life. This is the prosthetic leg that I use, and the cost was about $70,000. The Rhodes Hotel is in Atlanta,